Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel for a brand new week on 67 Hail Hail. Grown, it's another international break, but if you can hold on about 10 seconds, I will deliver some very good news. The good news is that this is the final international break until the end of March. Apologies if you feel I've led you on by teasing you with the good news thing about 20 seconds ago. I think it's pretty positive. We just have to get through the next 13 days or so, and then we can be back with Celtic together for months on end, apart from the winter break that's coming up. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. In terms of this video today, we're going to look over a few bits and bobs to do with yesterday and also the international break coming up and what Celtic can expect afterwards. I am not going to touch too much on the match yesterday because I already did that with Stevie from the pub Babbity Bowster yesterday. Check that out if you're looking for some chat on yesterday's game. But for this video, we're going to just look, as I say, at some bits and bobs that are happening. Of course, you can always find out more about what's happening at Celtic on 67hailhail.com. So check that out right after you're finished here. I wanted to start by chatting about some comments Ange made after the game against Dundee yesterday. Now, as we know, there was a couple of incidents during the match that were relating to the Celtic support, and Ange was basically given a couple of opportunities by press post-match to slam the Celtic support, to really have a go at the Celtic fans, and I'm delighted to say that he didn't do that at all. He actually gave a very measured response, I thought, when speaking about the tennis ball protest that took place about 90 seconds into the match. He said that fans having a chance to express themselves is what this society is all about, and he doesn't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Now, he did say that he would rather the fans didn't do it during the 90 minutes when football is being played, as he thinks that's, a pretty sacrosanct kind of time. God, that was a fancy word. Basically, it was the perfect way to deal with such a situation. He didn't alienate himself from the Celtic support at all. He didn't really pick a side either in the whole Bernard Higgins, Celtic board, Celtic fans thing, but he understood where fans were coming from without being patronising at all. And finally, I think most notably, he asked for something back. And it wasn't a great, huge thing either. He just kind of mentioned that in future, he as a manager of the team would prefer that supporters protested out with the 90 minutes. And I think it'll be interesting to see going forward whether the fans groups that are, part of this protest, and it's not just the Green Brigade, they've been getting so much criticism when, I think there was 5 or 6 different fan groups that put their name to the original statement before the Livingston game. It'll be interesting to see if perhaps they do start doing it before games, even half-time, or even after matches out with the ground, as opposed to when the game is going on. What I'm taking away from it is how Ange dealt with a pretty tough situation, a tough question put to him, and he didn't slag off the Celtic support. He didn't alienate himself from the Celtic support. A year ago, with the manager we had in charge, can you imagine what would have been said after the game? Would have had claims about people not being real Celtic fans. He loved that line. And also, a staunch defence of the Celtic board. We didn't get any of that from Ange. Basically, in a nutshell, I love you, Ange, never change. Yesterday's result capped off a pretty impressive chunk of fixtures for Celtic. In the last 7 games between the international breaks, we won 6 of them, and it was only those drop points against Livingston that were the only real black mark at all. We cut the gap from 6 points to 4 points at the top of the table, despite having to go to some pretty tough away venues, Fir Park and Easter Road, Spring Out, and of course we won our 2 European games in Europa League, securing European football post-Christmas. So I think it was really impressive in terms of results, and even away from that, I think we've seen the emergence of some really good players and partnerships in this Celtic team. I think Jota and Kyogo have really found each other's rhythm over the last 6 or 7 games. I think Carter Vickers and Starfelt were really finding a good partnership as well there prior to Starfelt's injury. When you consider that we've got him to come back, we've got Tom Rogic to come back, both right after the international break. We've still got James Forrest to properly come back as a starter. Christopher Julian coming back as well. We've got a lot of options, and there is a lot of reasons to be really positive about this Celtic team. I think Ange as well has won over a lot of doubters over the last 7 games. You know, during the last international break, despite that win we'd had at Pittodrie, a lot of people were still quite cynical about whether he had what it takes to be a successful Celtic manager. I feel like the debate has kind of moved on a bit from that. You don't really hear people chatting anymore about whether Ange is going to get it right and be a success. I think a lot of people are convinced that this Celtic team is going to be a success. The big questions are stuff like, can we win the League Cup in a couple of months' time? Can we win the league this year? Can we make the Europa League last 32 in the new year, or will it be the Conference League? It's more about how quickly we can get to the goals rather than if we will get there at all. And I think that's quite a progression that we've seen over the last few months. So once again, I tip my imaginary hat to you, Ange. It's been a pretty relentless run of fixtures for Celtic, but when you look at those fixtures we've got coming up when we come back from the international break, it is really, really tasty. We've got 3 in 8 days to cap off November, then 8 in December, which is always a busy month, and of course that derby against Rangers at the start of January, just ahead of the winter break. Looking at those fixtures, the games are all pretty mega, and when you consider there could be a cup final in place of that St Mirren match, it gets even more tasty. So we could do with having a full-strength Celtic squad in operation when we return from the international break. So on that note, let's have a look at the Celtic players who will be away on international duty over the next couple of weeks. So we've got 2 full Scottish internationals away. That's Callum McGregor and David Turnbull. And under 21-wise, Stephen Welsh and Adam Montgomery are also away. Connor Hazard there on the left is away with Northern Ireland, while the kind of bigger names in the squad, like Josip Juranovic there, he's back in the Croatia squad. Of course, the Israeli duo of Nir Biton and Liel Abada are both away, and of course that wee cheeky devil on the right with his tongue out, Kyogo, as well. It's worth noting as well at the bottom there that there's some youth internationals, you know, under 19s away for Scotland. We've got Adam Brooks, Mackenzie Carson, Dane Murray, and quite interestingly, I think for the second or third time in a row, the England under 19s, that young goalkeeper we've got, Toby Oluwayemi, is also away. He's been getting some rave reviews from Darren O'Day as well. He was in our matchday squad for the recent Ferencvaros away game, so he's certainly a name that you want to keep an eye on as well. But, you know, with the likes of Tom Rogic and Karel Starfelt not away in international duty, GG can't get a call up for Greece yet, which I find a little bit surprising. Maybe they've just got some amazing options. And Portugal, for some reason, think they can do without Jota. God knows what they're thinking there. I hope they fail badly over the next couple of games. But we've actually not got too many players away when you think about it, and that's obviously a positive from a Celtic point of view. We've heard from various people inside the club and you know, press conferences and quotes to media about how valuable the last international break was for just working on wee things that you don't necessarily get the time to when you're playing 2 matches a week. And I think, fair enough, you know, there's a few key players away, the likes of Kyogo, McGregor, Juranovic, etc. But the vast majority of that Celtic squad will still be at Lennoxtown over the next fortnight or so. Lennoxtown is still going to be a pretty busy place, and I think that's really good that Celtic and Ange are going to get to work and basically use this international break to their benefit once again. So that's us for today. Thanks very much for tuning in. It's going to be a little bit quieter on the channel this week, as we're going to take a little bit of a break just at the end of the week. With it being an international break, it's kind of the best time to do it. Tomorrow though, we will have a video. Scott McDonald will be on the channel with me and David, I think. So we'll obviously be looking back at the Dundee win and, you know, anything else that comes up between now and then. If you've somehow come across 67 Hail Hail for the first time and fancy subscribing to us or liking the video, that goes for anyone, that would be much appreciated by everyone here. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Take care and Hail Hail.